Charles Bonnet syndrome is a condition which develops when someone has lost over 60% of sight. It causes vivid, silent visual hallucinations, which range from disturbing to terrifying. It's very important to stress that it is not a mental health condition. It is due entirely to sight loss. It's very, very difficult to cope with Charles Bonnet syndrome. Every single person has a different experience. For some people, it happens maybe a couple of times a week. For others, it's all day and all the time they're awake. Sometimes people say that they see colored blobs or dots. And then we go to the other end, to a man who said, it's like watching a horror film I would never have chosen to watch, and I cannot switch it off. My mother, the Esme of Esme's Umbrella, she developed it in her early 90s. She was incredibly independent, lived on her own. And then one day she said, I just wish these people would get off my sofa. And this took over her whole life. And as she got older, it did become almost impossible for her to bear. But sadly, I could find no help, which is why I created Esme's Umbrella. We have always known that isolation, stress, and fever exacerbate Charles Bonnet syndrome. And when the first lockdown started last year, I was inundated, and we realized very quickly that what we'd always suspected was true. Not only were people having many more episodes, but they were seeing much more frightening images. And that led us to do some research. I'm very proud to say that the money from Esme's Umbrella's restricted fund held by Fight for Sight has gone to Oxford University, where they are going to be looking at the brains of people with Charles Bonnet syndrome to see if there is a chemical being released before a hallucination, and also to Cardiff University, where they are going to be looking at peripheral vision and memory. Charles Bonnet syndrome would disappear entirely if we could cure sight loss. So the work of Fight for Sight, trying to cure sight loss, could lead to the end of Charles Bonnet syndrome. Please donate to Fight for Sight today to help us fund research into this complex and devastating condition.